Well, June, sort of as predicted, wasn't the best reading month for me, but I did manage to read a book a week. So let's see what I read. Welcome back, or if you are new here, welcome. My name is Katrina and I make bookish content here on this channel every week and then movie reviews here at the weekend. All of the books that I'm going to be talking about today will be linked in the description box below. And if you haven't already seen my June TBR, I will leave it linked up above to see what I was trying to read this month. Yes, I did 4 books altogether. 1 ebook, 3 audiobooks, 2 fiction, 2 non-fiction, interestingly. I would have liked to have read more books by queer authors for Pride Month, but I just did what I did in the month of June. So let's talk about that ebook first of all, because it is definitely going to be in my top 10 books of the year list. And this was A Song of Me and You by Gale. I'm actually going to the launch of this one in Birmingham on the 6th of July. Very exciting. It comes out on the 6th of July and I highly, if I can get it so it's not too shiny, recommend that you pre-order this one because it's so good. It was just like classic Gale, but with like elements of like if you loved Daisy Jones and the Six, if you loved the Johnny Jefferson and spin-off books from Page Toon, you will absolutely love this one because it does feature an international pop star, which is very exciting. This one, the tagline for this one is From First Love to Second Chances, and just reading that tagline, I'm already getting like all the feels. The last 25% of this book just like had me gasping. It had me exclaiming out loud. We have Helen and Ben and their like first love to second chances story. This book also made me very angry because Helen is in the process of separating from her husband, and her husband is just an absolute dick, and there's nothing more that can be said about him. He doesn't want what's best for his children. He doesn't want what's best for him. He's just absolutely So this book like made me hate the villains and love the heroes, and just all the feels. I cried, I laughed, I gasped, I went, oh my God, so many times. So much recommend. 6th of July, Gale, A Song of You and Me. I imagine as well the audiobook for this one will be fabulous because I do normally consume my Mike Gale books via audiobook. It's how I discovered Gale, from an audiobook off the shelf at Slough Library, fun fact. And he normally has really good narrators, so pre-order the audiobook if audiobooks are your thing. Loved it. Okay, let's talk about one that I didn't love quite so much. I wanted to see what all the hype was about this one. If you've been following along with my TBRs and wrap-ups for a little while, you'll have seen that I'm on a Colleen Hoover journey because I had Losing Hope on my NetGalley TBR for like a million years. So I was like, right, okay, this book is all over TikTok. Friends of mine have read it and loved it. Friends that don't read it in the course of a whole weekend. Like, gonna do it. It ends with us, Colleen Hoover. I'm just like, I wasn't interested in trying to finish this book. You'll see that I read most of it in the month of May, and then I kind of had to force myself to finish it in June. And I think if I wasn't like, oh, there must be something that happens at the end here because everyone's raving about it, so something must happen. Something's going to happen, right? Something's going to happen. And just, yeah. It just made me really uncomfortable, especially the sort of domestic abuse stuff within relationships, especially the controlling behaviour. And then, no. I like the fact that there's a florist in the book and the cover's got flowers on. And I like the friendship between the two sort of main female characters in this one. But aside from that, I just don't get the hype. I didn't love it. I didn't feel compelled to get back to the audiobook. I found myself cheating on it with other audiobooks, and I found myself doing other things rather than listening to it when I could have been listening to it. So read this one to see what all the hype was about. I didn't get it. However, I'm very tempted to read It Starts With Us to see if it sheds any more light on this one, because when I read Hopeless and Losing Hope, the last little bit of Hopeless and then into Losing Hope did give me a deeper understanding for the characters. So I'm going to do that to myself. But yeah, we'll just take a moment to appreciate how much it matches with my outfit today as well. I'm loving that. Okay, so then on to the two non-fiction books I read out. So this one was just one of these that, number one, I was scrolling through my library's new non-fiction book releases, and it popped up and I was like, oh, interesting. I've heard of one of these authors. And then the other one is the fact that it's blurbed by Sarah Knight, who I read a non-fiction book from in the month of May and enjoyed. So I was like, okay, it's not too long. I'm going to listen to this one. So this one is Burnout, Solve Your Stress Cycle. And this is by Emily and Amelia Nagoski. And I think it's Emily wrote Come As You Are, which I also borrowed from the library, which I may read in June, but I don't know. And I was just like, interesting. Obviously, I work in quite a stressful profession. And so I was intrigued to hear sort of what they heard about that. And they do follow along over the course of the book to case study characters to make the things that they're talking about a little bit more real. And one of them is a teacher. So I was like, right, okay, let's see what they're sort of saying about this. And they do talk a lot about completing the stress cycle, like specifically solving the stress cycle by completing it. And I did understand what they were saying, but in a way, this book kind of made me feel a little bit more stressed. I don't know if it's because I was often listening to it on the way home from a stressful day at work. But yeah, I mean, I was intrigued with what they had to say. And it was interesting, but they talk about the effect that the stress can have on lots of aspects of you and your life and your body. And I was like, oh my God, it's only going to get worse. This is not good. So I'm glad I listened to it, and I would definitely, it's definitely encouraged me to listen to Come As You Are by one of the authors. And I like the fact that they chose case studies and they kind of gave you real ways to deal with things, but also I don't feel like it really helped me very much / made me more concerned about my own stress levels. So yeah, interesting one. And then I did read a book specifically for Pride Month, which I came across. It had been on my radar for a little bit, and then Audible put it in their 2-for-1 sale, and it was with another book that was on my wish list. So I was like, perfect. A, perfect timing. B, always like a non-fiction book to add to my wrap-up / TBR, which, I mean, I already had read a non-fiction, but, I like listening to non-fiction. And C, it was relatable. So yes, so we have by The Hidden Culture, History and Science of Bisexuality by Julie Shaw. I love the fact that we've incorporated the bi-colours of the flag into this one here as well. And this one was just really interesting. It includes lots of facts and figures about people who come out as bisexual, the stigma around bisexuality, both from the straight community and the queer community, being bisexual at work, being an adult who is bisexual and has adult children and sort of coming out to them, and also that stigma around the fact that you can be bi and be in what looks like a heterosexual marriage. And then it includes lots of facts and figures, including being bi in different countries and the stigma and the sort of like legal repercussions of that and what happens in prison and stuff like that. And so it was really interesting. There was definitely some new stuff learned here, but I thought the sort of section about like coming out as bi was really, really interesting, especially when talking about people who are in relationships with somebody of the opposite gender and being like, well, just because you're in a heterosexual relationship, it doesn't mean that you stop being bi. And that was really interesting because, again, like the last book, it deals with case studies and real life examples and talks about bi pride as well, which I thought was really great and definitely a good read for Pride Month. If you are not already on Audible, I do have I think it's a free month in my description box, so there's a link that you can click in there if you haven't tried it before. I also have a link to Scribd if audiobooks are your thing, if you've come to me via audiobooks, because it's always my most read format each month. So yes, some hits, some misses, some different things, like definitely A Song of You and Me, massive hit for the month of June. I did it over a weekend and just loved it, but the last little bit of it definitely broke me a bit. Highly recommend. And if you'd be interested in a standalone review of that one / footage from the book launch, the event, do let me know in comments, because would be happy to bring that to you. It's on Thursdays, that's exciting. And then, yeah, a couple of non-fiction this month as well. So do let me know if you read anything specific for Pride Month. I would be really intrigued to hear. I'm normally a little bit more intentional about my choices, but I just knew that this month was going to be tricky in terms of reading, and so I just wanted to mood read a little bit more, and still ended up picking some books with queer representation anyway, so that was great. I will be back with more bookish content for you very soon. If you enjoyed this one, give it a thumbs up. Make sure you are subscribed and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on the bookish videos / my movie review coming your way this weekend. And I will see you with my next video. Thanks for watching.